Hey Luis, I'm going to continue my notes. Thank you again so much for volunteering to go first in class. I really do appreciate that, and I hope that you'll consider doing this stepped. I know it's uncomfortable and it's not something you've had good success with in the past, but I think it's good to be able to do it both stepped and splined. Especially, I feel like it simplifies things in stepped mode where we're just looking at drawings and not at the motion. We'll get to the motion. We'll get to the quality of animation and all that in a bit. But I feel like starting from like really strong poses, I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to continue with the critique that I said. Maybe I'll repeat some notes that I said in class because I'm not 100% sure what I said. But anyways, I've identified some key poses here, and we can talk about some breakdowns and stuff in a second. But this looks like the contact pose, which I like. I like your hip rotation is great. I like that these legs are straight, which is great. You may consider, you don't have to do this, it's up to you, but you may consider kind of like increasing the distance of the stride a little bit, which would probably necessitate you to bring down your your center of gravity to give a little bit more the geometry to make that happen with the legs and not have them be overstretched. But that's a small note. This stuff is looking good. This pose is kind of catching me because it looks off balance, and I'm trying to figure out why or how to tell you to address it. And I think one of the things is I think this foot needs to be still back farther, you know what I mean? And that the leg is not bent so much. I think that will help make it feel centered still. And like I said before, I would get this foot flat and just like 2 frames. But I think something like this is going to balance out the pose and make the character feel less like they're going to like tip backwards. And again, the notes I said about there's a lot of like forward and back motion here on the chest, which is maybe appropriate for other walks, but I'm not so sure it's appropriate for our vanilla walk. So I would try to settle that down a little bit and try to just keep like a similar angle throughout, and we can layer in like little subtle movements and stuff there, but right now I feel like it's pretty extreme. Okay, so this passing pose looks solid. I really like it. Yeah, and then there's another passing. Well, this is going to be just like an in-between pose. I'm not sure if this is going to be such a key yet, but when now I'm evaluating the up and down of your pelvis, and I do like the down here, but maybe there's a way to push this a little bit more, this down. I don't know. I can see that it's there, but it's subtle. So maybe push that just a little bit more so that we feel that. This is the up, which is great. And then this again should be close. This isn't the down, of course. The down is the down. But this feels, I don't know. Let me gather my thoughts for a second. Yeah, I feel like this needs to start coming down. Maybe you have it starting coming down, but there's just something about I'm not feeling that it's starting to come down quite yet. Curious. I will think about this and get back to you, but I don't think it's a big note. It's a small note, so don't sweat it. All right. So there's your down. There's your passing. I feel like with the passing, maybe just, it's subtle again, but maybe this foot needs to just be a little bit more back so we get a little bit more of like a forward feel out of this lean. It would just be a hair. That's nitpicky, admittedly. All right, so maybe here I think what I'm feeling is I want to feel this foot bend a little bit more so that we're starting to get a little bit of bend out of this leg. I feel like the leg being as straight as it is here, I feel like we would start to see in a more natural walk, like just a tiny bend there, and I think you would get it by rolling that foot. Although I don't want to tell you to roll it too much. So I think, it's this balance between pelvis height, foot roll, and leg length. And that's kind of the puzzle that you're trying to solve. So I don't know that I can say, oh, this is the one part of that 3-point puzzle that needs to be adjusted. But I don't think this leg should be this straight right here. Again, I don't want to overemphasize it because it's not a huge thing. But maybe like this should be the maximum roll of the foot, right? So this has to be the less roll of the foot. That's not a typical thing that you said. The less roll of the foot, but yeah, I would just play with it to get a little bit of bend here. And here, if you can, I would leave this foot even a little bit more, just a touch further back. I know this is kind of an in-between thing, but this is really strong, so I kind of want to, yeah. I don't know. I think this is strong, and you're in a good spot. Yeah, I drew it too far back. Maybe it's just the angle I'm responding to, but try to maybe not flatten it out so much. I kind of feel like right at the end of when this foot goes forward, it's almost like when people walk, there's like a little flick up of the toe, like last minute. So I think what's happening is it's just rotated a little too far there. And then this will make like a nice flick up. And then when you step down on it in a couple frames, it's like you will really feel that weight coming in there. So let me focus more on the front view, what I'm seeing. I am seeing some little left and right spacing issues. So let's see. Yeah, I think in class I was saying push this over a little bit more here so that the character looks a little bit more on balance, but I think you have the right idea. And then as they step here, yep, loving that, loving the change in the angle of the hips over here. That's great. So here, yep, yeah, I think all those notes stay. So this should be a little bit more far to the left, and then this one will be beginning of the center of gravity and everything traveling screen right, and then this is going to be like bam when all that weight goes onto that leg and that hip. Yeah, okay. I won't pay too much attention to the arms yet, but yeah, let me see. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so I'd say focus on that stuff. Consider putting it in spline so we can just get, if we're talking about these poses, these 4 poses, just getting those really great, and then we'll just mirror them here to get the other 4, and get those kind of timed out and looking great. Then I think we'll be in a good spot to start putting in some breakdowns and like really starting to refine some of this motion. But anyways, great stuff. Can't wait to see what you have next week.